It's a funny show for I daily update TV. So and then our first time I show so I need to know vocal and no idea. You know, I subscribe and my say being news be no she be a notification of phone so no I be share friends and marry so I be share more than for so any ability for me and kind some sort thing. NPP for South Town, I just say a friend a year Okudzeto black when I be in same go just say more remi pan and the Casemono and all case NPP official be just what bunny din NPP big win for any be pan what bunny din or case. NPP grew at the $6 million akwakwashe USA camera a capture na just say enyas and to yakwo ko hunu red handed a $6 million wa pack a bag more the dwane ko USA e Okudzeto black kwa e case says can a dear mouse if a gun no says cano a Ghana for the year back all looted money including sisi other pies called question passing nano a dear beji says can in our back just enyas and to or to us no can say a beka a NPP guru so if an a David Jareno so inflation on the Ghana funds a casi a car actually $32 million and need pabaku per one year biano ye dear man just what could dino and no matches enyas and to or to us no and can say prepare to refund all the money say their mama no says can the mouse if I could be no deal says can we no kwetiku and be so ninging our say all money that we have looted will be refunded back to the state and also to the two Ghanaians because there's career bubbles in Kabuma it me develop it from baby I could see baby a bit my Ghana for every or yeni ma could do pen so be a Ghana from what Tom Kaka. So come to Okudzeto black a bar need and come to.
There are also so many people who have no business keeping our money. It is a tall list. I can give you some. There's a gentleman called Kesi, far away in the United States of America, who is keeping our $6 million.
How?
As part of the National Cathedral scandal. Already $58.1 million of our taxes sunk into the world's most expensive answer for that. But to make matters worse, the National Cathedral Secretariat decided that they need a fundraiser to go around the world to raise funds. What happens in the industry, best practice, is that the people raise the funds and then you pay them a commission. It is only in the case of Ghana, under this Akufo-Addo government, that they decided to give Kesi $6 million. He must prepare to refund that money, particularly to raise any funds. Number two, you have these shonky sheikhs from Dubai who had absolutely no business that they were going to get us Sputnik V vaccines. And I'm speaking to a bipartisan parliamentary inquiry report which has confirmed beyond any reasonable doubt that Ghana lost $2.4 million because Ajimamenu, instead of dealing with the Russians directly, I met the Russian ambassador in Accra who told me that, I'm shocked. Even neighboring countries are dealing with us. We are connecting them directly to Moscow, and you get a better deal. You are even sure about the efficacy of the vaccine. Why are you guys dealing with some sheikhs far away from Russia? The Russians couldn't believe it. So those shonky, dubious sheikhs who are keeping our $2.4 million, they must prepare to return them. Then you have the guys who came from South Africa under another very scandalous scheme, so ludicrous that they were going to construct sky trains. They are also keeping our $2 million. Then you have the guys who did a Japa in London, claiming, roaming around the streets of London, that they were trying to get us enlisted on the London Stock Exchange, and they were trying to rent offices in London for Japa. $12 million blown. They have to prepare to refund it. Then you have Pualugu Dam, $11.9 million. We were totally scandalized when we went there. We went to the site, no work done.
This is for mobilization.
So there is such a tall list, including David Ajay. And look, what David Ajay has done to this country. For the first time, the institutes of architects had to rise up. They issued a statement. That's why, since this president became president, he and his friend David Ajayi, every national project, David Ajayi should design it. National Cathedral, Marine Drive, Trade Fair, Bank of Ghana headquarters, Parliament Chambers, Du Bois Center. Why? And when you look at the inflationary pricing that David Ajayi has engaged in, look at the documents I have here. This is from the GIFMES records. Just for interviewing contractors for the National Cathedral project and opening bids, David Ajayi was paid 32,070,103 Ghana cedis. As if that was not enough. After he had been paid for the design of the National Cathedral, then somebody gets a great idea that we need to attach a restaurant to the design. There's no restaurant where they will be serving manna and other food they say they will import from Jerusalem. I mean, that's what they were doing with their taxes. I mean, it's just a moment of madness. So David Ajayi hears that, and he says that for the additional restaurant he's going to add, just restaurant, we have to pay $5.8 million, and that's what was paid him. I have the letter here, signed by Ken Oforiatta, 6 July 2021. Resubmission of invoice for payment, National Cathedral of Ghana. Please refer to your letter number CSRDE 329/02, dated 27 April 2021, requesting the release of $5,817,769 $65 cents to pay consultancy fees in respect of the variation orders for the inclusion of a 300-seater restaurant. $5.8 million. Where does this happen? How much would the restaurant itself, the actual construction?
So what are you going to? You want to recover these monies from David Ajayi if he has done his work, he has done his consultancy, he has done the designs of the National Cathedral and all of that, and these are the fees that he charged, and he's been paid for it. I mean, there was a valid contract that exists. So how are you going to recover that money?
Are you aware that I did an RTI request to the Public Procurement Authority to ask them if this National Cathedral project, it has gone through PPA approval? Because under our PPA laws, they have to approve this. They said no, they have no idea what is going on there. So look, people have questions to answer, the lack of due process. And when it comes to these charges, there are standard fees in Ghana, Reba, in the UK, where he works. We have done the analysis. This kind of outrageous inflationary pricing would not be tolerated in any jurisdiction. So they all have to prepare. We have served notice. Operation Retrieve or Loot is going to catch up with them. And you see, the Ghanaian people, when we have gone round, they say, we are voting for you people because we want accountability. We want justice. All these people all over the place, Shonky Sheikhs, Caris Americans, Carisames, the Ajayi, the South Africans, Skytrain, and all these people, they must return our money. Ghana is not just some looting grounds where people just come and take our resources and take flight. They have to be made to account. And look, we have come up with very great proposals in our manifesto that the Ghanaian people want us to deliver. The no-fee stress. Ghanaian people want us to deliver the Women's Development Bank. The Ghanaian people want us to support the 1 million coders, young people who want to go into IT. Ghanaians are excited about the free education for persons with disability. Ghanaians want us to stop double track, to invest in infrastructure so that we can now have a one-track stabilized calendar in our secondary schools. All of these things will require resources, especially as we are promising to abolish a good number of taxes. We are saying that the emissions levy must go, e-levy must go, COVID levy must go. We are the only country after all these years of COVID. We are still burdening the Ghanaian people with COVID levy, and you don't even know what they are doing with the money. We are saying that betting tax on 10% earnings or winnings must go. So you cannot have a situation where you are seeking to cut down expenditure, you are seeking to be very prudent, you are seeking to make a lot of sacrifices. We are saying that no payment of ex gratia. We are saying that we are going to break the gap between Article 71 office holders and other Ghanaian workers. We are going to merge the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission with the Presidential Emoluments Commission, so that we will have one independent body taking care of all Ghanaian workers, so that this, elite discriminatory system where Article 71 office holders are treated differently. All of these sacrifices that the leadership will make, these reforms that will lead to substantial cuts in public expenditure. We cannot have a situation where people will be allowed to escape accountability and to get away with all of these resources in their possession, which they had no business, absolutely no business.
Ebusiafo na tifo nyati nsema Okudzeto abla kwa babo ntiambeka ni nsem na oka na nyati nsema de tu dwaje se na emu oremie pa egu MPP amanyoko na nima se Likee indoors scandals ni nyina PP che se enya asem ketwa si ebeka o kase kwalebu no mu hia just 2 million Ghana cedis as a bit my surviving cough or more battle with some disease being cancer near that day, renal disease near that day, I'm committing a bit my survival more. Then so I'm we pananum 2 ekachom so only says can it be all. I just say as we speak right now, nipa dunkuno ashiro monkwa a yara hosem pan just say one when you come party test upesu. Then so I read me yes car to the stands a bit quite in question passing money back a year $6 million. I had 2 million Ghana and do 6 million no baby. I so their money back some go to Uncle B restaurant. I had same no Okudzeto about is well go by any massive pan just say you bought for ye pan or casas. How come? Says can I no beginning of the content, so what is Okudzeto ebo bonko bi din a chese no nani abreach to obo bonko no ka size kana my yen nyina no they will jare ne sankofo nya be make sure say be Jesus kana nyina to the state. Now what was no ka say okọ presidency anase jubilee house here o matete ambassador be some state institution be o jubilee house on kwan the sika omo je no ho no na waka say institution ni nyina needless institution. And to say Becca Okudzeto abla kwa babo ntin abego mani mass parties enya asem kotwa kamuni ngo to Okudzeto abla kwa ba near the nkomo twetwe na ato aso
huge sums, millions of dollars, which can make a difference. I mean, we are talking about a country. Not too long ago, 19 people died at the Kwalebu renal unit because of just 2 million cedis.
So with all of this, of course, you talk about recovering all of these monies and stopping corruption and all of that. And of course, you talk about all the things that you want to do. I guess one question that a lot of people will be asking is how all of these things will be funded, right? I mean, are you going to depend on the monies that you are going to recover to fund what you say you are going to do? Where is the money going to come from? Considering the current state of our economy, considering our current tax regime, considering, like you just mentioned, that you want to cut all of these taxes, considering that we don't yet have access to the capital markets to go and borrow the Eurobond, and all of that. And we're also considering that about 81% of our total revenue, especially for the year 2024, is tax revenue. So there's very little that is left for any kind of capital expenditure. So, yeah, lofty promises. Where is the money coming from to do all that?
Great question. So we have reflected deeply on this within the manifesto committees, and we have come to the firm conclusion that if we can address wastage, that is why President Mahama has promised that he will not have any more than 60 ministers. No more than 60. This business of having over 100 ministers.
Is it 60 ministers? 60 ministers and deputy ministers?
Yes, ministers, deputy ministers. No more than 60. Then he has also said that within his first 120 days, he will put together the leanest government in history. He is going to totally rationalize the public sector. There is no reason why this country should have a separate ministry for aviation, for railways
transportation,
separate ministry for chieftaincy and for tourism, separate ministry for sanitation and for local government, ministries that were together, that were merged previously. Then you come to our departments and agencies. There's a lot of duplication, scope creeping, you know, some of them don't even know why they exist. There are a number of these agencies which should have been taken off the books long ago. They are just a drain. So we are going to address all of that. Then another animal in the room called the Office of Government Machinery. We have seen blatant abuse of the Presidential Office Act, where all manner of positions are created overnight. If I read some of these positions to you, you'll be totally bewildered, my brother. We have a presidential staffer called Youth Ambassador for Diaspora Affairs. I mean, what's that? Youth Ambassador for Diaspora Affairs. A country with a foreign ministry, with a vibrant foreign service, with foreign missions in at least 63 countries all over the world. Well, what do we need Youth Ambassador for Diaspora Affairs for? You have somebody whose job is overseer of the National Cathedral. Can you believe that? That pit, abandoned many years ago. You have a diaspora church mobilization officer, somebody who is going around mobilizing. I don't know if he was called by Christ or he's taken over from Paul in the Bible. I don't know who gave him that mandate, who gave him that calling to go around the world to mobilize the churches at our taxpayer expense. You have a Chief Executive Officer of Public Sector Reforms, Policy Associate, Focal Person La Francophonie. Then you have a Technical Director La Francophonie, Director of Special Projects. I don't know what that is. You know, Policy and Coordinator Analyst.
So all of these are presidential staffers. I mean, and you believe that these are necessary portfolios.
Totally needless.
And they need to go. And that will save some the country's money, right?
Because if you look at the OGM budget, it's in excess of 2 billion cedis.
Yeah.
Office of Government Machinery.
Yeah.
In excess of 2 billion cedis. So we can make a lot of savings from there. So look, if we fight graft, fight corruption, if we are able to address the mess with public procurement, and we save from the inflation of contracts, as the Auditor General discovered, for example, in the Cocoa Rose audit. If you look at even the COVID-19 audit, the 25 billion that we got, the diversions, the massive corruption, look, we can save billions of Ghana cedis. With prudent management, we can deliver on these promises.
Okay, we need to take our second break here, reminding you that you're still watching State of Affairs.
That the president made to God, that they will not use public resources. That's where we ought to start from. So, come clean, apologize to the Ghanaian people that if we had not intercepted these documents, we will have been deceived. And if you read the resignation letters of Bishop Dakiwad Mills, of Reverend Isud Anaba, of Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams, it's because of the grand deception. Secondly, the cost of what we see now cannot be accepted. The Vice President must be telling us how a forensic audit will be conducted so that we can retrieve a lot of the loot that has gone on. That hole there cannot be $58 million. It cannot be. It cannot be. And the Vice President must be telling us how people like Carrie Summers will be made to refund our $6 million. How Reverend Kusi Boateng Kwabena Edu-Jemfi 2.6 million Ghana cedis. And all the others who just took advantage of this to embark on an unprecedented create, loot, and share. Then thirdly, the Vice President ought to be telling the Ghanaian people what is the analysis, the cost of compensation. Because you see, the focus has been on the pit, $58 million. But what a lot of Ghanaians have not averted their mind to is
for in at and some Okudzeto block about in some account in some watch to us at the record street as a yas and good. So concerning about the NPP guru not just what this guy kwakwehye US a camera capture no sa nsem ni Okudzeto babontin ebe kache sa NPP guru na chese yakwakwa hu no ewo sa US wo no ene kache ne se scanner wafa no young guy or young gentleman offer say $6 million na wakwahye US a wo di wo nanum no no say make sure say ye do ye beji sika nyina back into dia no ejebi sene be abeti ma work towards $6 million in the amount say kona kudi no as with this guy says can adwane free Ghana ha obi odi nso obi e ho nenso Okudzeto abla kwa aye hwehwemu akwa ko say when I is widen or kudi says can enya te say di na ba bonten no say carries some so ha idin no just say ye beka Okudzeto abla kwa ba bonten asabe good there with ejare ni ma so nso ye NPP group be at $32 million so that man just says ansem nyina no Okudzeto abla bonten abeyin sansem nyina guo ye last audience so kan se me bro just na efa ska nanka kwarebufo hia nanka betima ajinkofo bi nkwa suffering from some disease be just a renal cancer near that dia nyema be bro betime ede nipa akọ owum no just na sa hospital no Kwalebu hospital ni hia just $2 million Ghana cedis just indru almost come di no be bia nenso akofaro ne nesi form catch on so onibi sansem na ma Okudzeto aye piece of cancer me bro just na enya asem keto ebi ati asem ni ntima kan bitim no adwenche na comment section bitim so share amadan for so enya bi ahwe subscribe my any di no book kwan so I daily update TV so